Hi everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Revitalise Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet key influencers, business entrepreneurs from across the UK business community. And today I've got the great pleasure, no, privilege to be with a lady who's been in business now for over 7 years, running Netwomen Ltd, a network based around Scotland and the globe. Can you please welcome with me today the one, yes, but the only, Pinky Ghadiali. Pinky, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
You're more than welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to meet with you this week and invite you to come along to Revitalise Meets as well. Now, for everybody watching and listening today, would you mind sharing with everybody a little bit about your business journey over the last 7 years, and most importantly, a little insight into really about the Netwomen network that you've been expanding out there right now?
Wow, where do I start? So I'm a qualified optometrist, and I started my journey with that 20 something years ago, so quite some time ago. And I moved to Edinburgh 12 years ago now with my son as a single parent. And when I was working as an optometrist, I always had that kind of feeling that I was not really doing something that I love. And for those of you who understand that, it's that feeling of, I don't think I'm following my passion or my purpose or my dream. And I remember when I used to see patients at the time, and they would be really open to connect and open to talk to me about certain things, personal things as well as business things. And they would open up like they never have done before. So I realized that I had the ability to listen and listen proactively. And that was really a skill that I didn't think I had. So what was really exciting was, at the time I thought, oh great, yes, I could definitely do this, but it was how to do that. How do you switch from having that stable job, having that career, to switching to something that you love and your passion? And many people who are in business now have obviously had that transitional period where you're not quite sure what to do. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a business owner? Not really sure about what to do or how to do it, I think, more than anything. So I think moving to Edinburgh was my big turning point in my life. My relationship situation had changed. I decided that I wanted to follow my passion, and I really made a decision. I think it's about making that decision to then make some steps and follow your purpose and do the action that you need to do to actually make it happen. Was me going to do coaching and learning about coaching and listening to podcasts and following inspirational leaders and reading the books. And then I started networking to promote my coaching business. And when I did that, that was the point where I started going to these networking events. And we're talking 2014, 2015, still attending these networking events and walking into a room where there'd be a sea of men in grey suits. And I stood at the door thinking to myself, pale, male, and stale in the 21st century, and we still haven't moved on. And I thought, women need to be seen, they need to be heard, they need a sense of belonging. And the reason why there aren't any women here is because it's intimidating. And for me, I stood at the door and I just thought, there is no way I can go up to these people and somehow get into a conversation in these big crowds of men. Very daunting. And also for women, it's an element of, am I enough to be walking in here? What am I going to say? I'm going to say something silly. So yeah, I would walk away from many of these events, never really go along. And one afternoon, while I was sat in my optometry practice on a Friday afternoon, thinking about wine, as I often did, and thought, Women in Networking Edinburgh, that's the acronym for wine. I'm going to go with that. And I started that 5 years ago, in-person events in Edinburgh and Glasgow, and loved it. It's a very expensive hobby. Lots of women came along to my events, had a great time. And then tail end of last year, I decided that, you know what, I've got a following of nearly 4,000 women on social media and I don't actually do anything with it. So I've decided, again, this is one of those things when I make a decision, I follow it through. I'm going to globalize. So that's what I've done. And here we are. Netwomen.co was born. And we are thriving through a pandemic.
Definitely. And congratulations for doing that. And I think it's when you get to a stage in the business, especially the journey you've taken, everyone's been in that position when they've walked into a networking event, stroke meeting, etc., and they're going, whoa, there's a sea of people that's in front of you. And it is daunting for anybody that walks in there, and especially from what you were saying there, I think that's a total great point on that. But then to embrace that and look at that area where you could show some benefit to many about what you can deliver and how you can bring many ladies and women together to focus on their point of business, where they are, and expand that even further and go globally. Really well done. And that's what it comes on to next, really, is looking at that biggest achievement. And that is an achievement in its own of going into sort of a global success in a pandemic. How have you approached that, and how did that achievement come to fruition in regards to expanding it to a global audience?
Honestly, in March, when things kind of went totally opposite to what I expected them to go, I was expecting to do in-person events around the world. And as we know, these things were not going to happen as easily as we wanted them to. So I spent a month from March to April just hiding under my duvet and pretending like, this isn't real. I was in complete denial. And I think many business owners at this point probably went through a very similar thing where it's just this complete disbelief. How could this be happening? This can't be true. It's not normal. It will, things will be fine in a couple of weeks. And they weren't. So in April, I just, right, that's it. Again, make a decision, follow it through. Decided to just pivot everything online. And I've realized that since this change, and now we're living in this new normal, that people are so much more receptive, more open, more reflective, more just willing to have those conversations with you. If you reach out to somebody now on LinkedIn, they're happy to have a conversation with you on Zoom. Whereas before, there was this whole resistance of, no, who are you? Just trying to sell. No, definitely not. I've never met you before. And now I think a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm getting a lot of connections on LinkedIn. I'm actually doing business through LinkedIn. I've never had that before. COVID's made the world a smaller place. I really think that, it's an opportunity. And I think that's the salient point is that using and actually thinking about a crisis as an opportunity is the whole point of business surviving. Otherwise, you're just not going to make it through.
I think that's a great point as well, Pinky, because it's many people have embraced the virtual network, as we call it, whereas prior to it, many people never thought about that. They had their online webinars, etc., and things like that, but it has opened up the geography, not just across the UK, it's across the globe. And we were speaking to people in America, Canada, Europe, everywhere now. It's completely opened it up. And also, I think it's it's made people more proactive in what they're doing with their time management, so they can fit in an extra meeting as they're not traveling somewhere anymore now. So really well done, and a great achievement to, well, hide away at first and then go, right, I'm going to grab this with both hands and I'm going to make it work, because there's many business owners have done that. We've heard that word pivot. It might take them a bit longer than expected, or they might have just done it straight away and then just been pushing forward, keeping their vision alive. But the conversations are further afield now, and I 100% agree, and really well done on that one. Now, in regards of pivoting the business and looking at what you've done online, we've talked about a lot with diversifying your business. So it has gone to an online model, but what changes have you made, or challenges that you've overcome to diversify your business over the last 10 months? What's been the biggest change for you?
I think the biggest change is really learning how to build those relationships and the cultural differences that we have across the globe, because we forget that actually not everybody works the same way as we do in the UK.
Very true.
And the other thing is the time zones. I have to say, I feel like I'm working throughout the night sometimes, because I mean, literally tonight I have another podcast at 9 p.m. because it's in Toronto, another one in Vancouver. So that I have to be very strict with my boundaries and my timings, because otherwise I could literally be working for 24 hours. So yeah, those are the things that I need to work on. And in terms of diversifying, I think, yeah, the cultures are so different everywhere. You know, the way that we do business here is not the same. The way that we talk to people is different. Um, and the building of relationships is so key. And I know you agree with me on this one, Lee, because having been to your events, I really think that, you know, gone are the days where we walk into a room and just hand over a business card. It's all about making those connections. It's not just that person that you're talking to. The network is, you know, you're talking to who they know. It's not just them, it's the people they know. And it's that old age classic saying of your network is your net worth. And the fortune is really in the follow up. People forget to follow up. And I heard you say that yesterday as well, when, you know, make sure that you follow up with the people that you've spoken to. So important.
Yeah, it's really important. And you're right in what you say. It's that within networking, and especially when you look at global brands and you look at different industries and different marketplaces, different eco structures that they've got out there, especially when I used to work over in the States with my American counterparts from the UK, they did business in a different way to what we did it, and we approached it in a different way. But I think you touched on a point there, and we talked about it yesterday at the event. It was looking at relationships that people build with one another. Instead of looking at the short-term opportunities, looking for the long-term gain. Many people only look at the short-term, what's coming to them right now and who they're meeting right now. It's a lot bigger than that. It's, you know, looking at Pinky, you've now got 10 other people around you, and I've got 10 people around me. So even online and people watching and listening today, we've got 20 people around us. We've got more than that, by the way. But it's, you know, when you look at it, it's such a wide, vast opportunity. People only sometimes look at that little centerpiece in the middle and go, open up the blinkers even further. It's a wider focus. You're 100% correct on that, Pinky, well and truly. Now, you've done some great things in diversifying the business. You've done some great achievements in regards to globalizing what you do. But I like this question, and I always reflect back on it quite regularly. If you could go back 7 years ago, right, and you could literally speak to yourself, what would be your golden tip of advice to you 7 years ago in just starting your business? What would that be?
There's an element of believe in yourself, which I say to myself all the time. In fact, if I was, you know, going back 20 years ago, saying that to myself would have been amazing. I think what really changed my business around and the way that I thought about it was getting a coach or a mentor, because we forget that they've done it before. They've probably experienced what you're going through before. If you want to save time and you want to save money, then invest in a coach and a mentor who will give you that support, um, so that perhaps if you are going to be making those mistakes and spending a lot of money making those mistakes, you're better off learning from someone who's already done that before. And that's a big lesson for me. And I think that, everyone goes through certain struggles that they need to learn from. Yeah, absolutely agree with that, because I probably wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't gone through what I'd gone through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so much more beneficial if you've got somebody that's experienced, who's been there and done that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, I come from I talk to many sports, from a rugby background to any type of sport you're in play, and they've all got coaches that deal with them, and look after them and make sure they're pushing themselves further. But they've also, like you touched on there, they've all got experience from what you've been through, or they've spoken to people who have been through that stage. Some people try to make it so perfect and procrastinate on many things and trying to get it a perfect delivery 100% perfectly all the time. Unfortunately, in the real world, it doesn't work like that, but you've got to give it a try. If it doesn't work, it's not a failure. You've just learned a lesson from it and do it differently the next time, and just keep going forward and keep pushing on it all the time. And there is some fantastic coaches out there, yourself included, that can help many people with their business. And the mentorship is a good one, because there's many budding entrepreneurs out there who are wanting to scale up their business. They're not just starting off, they're scaling up the business. Mentors really play a good part in your Netwomen, don't they, really, of people that are in there?
Yeah, we're all about coaching and mentoring and giving that space. And the mastermind groups that we have are testament to the fact that, having that accountability, having the support, having somebody there that's actually going to have your back, where you can bring your challenge. Everybody faces challenges in their business, but you can't do it alone. You need some help. You need that support. You need those people around you that are going to say, you know what, I've tried this way, try this. This might work. Try this angle. Think outside the box, perhaps. Things that you've probably not thought about before, that give you those light bulb moments where you can actually go away and go, you know what, that's a good point. I'm actually going to go away and try this and reflect on that and perhaps do it a different way. And that's the piece about coaching and mentoring that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I think it's as well, it's when you look at the mentor and you look at the support groups, many people are just looking for business, right? But what people need to recognize when you've got groups like yourself and mine and everything else that we do, it's the amount of knowledge and support you have actually in there that people don't even tap into. They're looking for the business opportunity all the time. No, you're looking for the support. You're looking there to build relationships up with them. And within those relationships begins that level of trust and the complementary in regards to supporting each other with a business. Yeah, I think you're 100% on point with that one. Thanks for sharing that. Really, thank you, Pinky. But then that's gone on in the last 7 years, and where we are right now, you've gone past the duvet stage and you're building and building and building. I love putting that in there as well. What's next for Pinky? What is next for netwomen.co? What's the next step? Is it 6 months? Is it 1 year ahead? Is it 2 years ahead? What's next for you?
Our mission is to have 1 million women on board by 2025 who are really being supported by our network, who, at the moment probably feeling quite alone, isolated, unsupported, working from home or remotely, and they need that support from whatever that might be, mental health point of view, well-being point of view, or it might even just be about growing their business. So we want to offer that out to everybody, ambitious professionals mainly. And also, I want to continue my journey through philanthropy and helping women who've been in toxic relationships. Because when I went through a difficult time, I didn't get the support I needed. I had to pay for coaching and mentoring services to help me get over what I went through. So I feel like I need to give back. And I want to do that through a foundation or a B Corp or something along the lines of that from netwomen.co.
Absolutely superb. And I wish you all the very best for those future endeavors. And no doubt that they will 100% materialize themselves probably sooner than 2025. I think they will happen a lot sooner than expected, I think, with especially the work you're putting in. If you're working 24/7 and you're doing all these hours, something's going to break at some point, and that's going to be the 1 million mark, I think, well and truly. Thank you so much for joining me today, Pinky. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been fantastic. I love speaking with you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. And I look forward to welcoming you back to Revitalise events very soon as well. And thank you to you for all listening and watching us today on Revitalise Meets. If you want to reach out to Pinky, please do so. And what's the best way of getting in touch with yourself, Pinky?
Probably best to get me through my website, netwomen.co, also bypinky.com. And we are on all social media platforms at netwomen.co.
Absolutely superb. I highly recommend anybody who's interested looking at the network, looking at the support, looking at the global culture that Pinky is bringing together with the community around the whole of the globe. Definitely reach out, start the connection, and have the conversation. Thanks again to Pinky. Thank you to you for watching and listening to us today. We look forward to welcoming you back to the next Revitalise Meets in the forthcoming weeks, hopefully before or straight after Christmas. We wish you all the very best. Keep safe, keep healthy, and remember, everybody, keep connecting. We'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.